And welcome to the Red Eye Stream. That's right, we're here. Let's have a talk. I think we need to have a talk, people. Yeah, it's intervention time. Gather around. Uncle Chris is going to tell you a story about some people who used to see one way, and now because of peer pressure and societal influence, they decide that way was wrong, and they want to push that upon the rest of us. Let's have a talk. Yeah, story time. Hey, if 2 weeks ago you had a Confederate flag and today you feel like taking it down, how about you have a look at yourself and not a look at the flag? You fucking whiny little bitch. You're a whiny little bitch. That's all there is to it. Look at yourself before you look at me as the problem. Because I'm the same guy I was 4 years ago. I'm the same guy I was yesterday. You're the one changing. And you know why you're changing? It's simple. I understand. I get it. I understand. You don't want to be the big bad. Oh my God, you're white and you have a Confederate flag. Oh shit, they're going to think I'm evil. Fuck them. Fuck them. It doesn't matter anymore. The battle lines have been drawn, and for every flag that falls, 1,000 more will rise. You're done. You want to shove us against the wall? Fine. We'll act like the monsters you make us out to be. Go ahead, Doku.
Yeah, I'm not calling out anybody in particular. I don't need to do that. What I will point out is, as the Averton window shifts, as social pressure mounts, yes, you're going to see people eventually cave, bend the knee, or the natural progression of things is, people are going to change their opinions. You can expect that to happen. That it's going to. What you don't want to do is you don't want to change your opinion or your stance or your viewpoints or your beliefs simply because society is pressuring you to do so. You should stand by your convictions and do what you think is right or wrong. We can look at Saul Alinsky's 13 Rules for Radicals. One of the major rules is always hold your enemy to the same standard that you hold that they hold themselves to. Always be willing to go lower than they're willing to go. In other words, be willing to cheat. And always keep on the pressure. Given enough time, everybody will break given enough pressure. Always keep that in the back of your head. You're being pressured. You're being forced into this. Whether you think it or not, and if you truly agree with this, then all right, go ahead, do it. I mean, I don't necessarily blame anyone for not wanting to be the target of harassment or just say, fuck it, it's not worth it. But keep in mind, if you're doing it because that's how you truly think, that's what you truly believe, that's your conviction, that's one thing. If you're doing it simply because you're giving in to social pressure and you're being intimidated and you're bending the knee, that's something you're going to have to live with. Keep that in mind.
I'm going to be like, this feels like it's good cop, bad cop, because I'm going to be the bad cop. No, you didn't change your mind about a certain issue in a 24-hour period. That didn't happen, okay? What happened was you feel like society itself is going to target you. So you wear the mask. You take down the flag. You cover up anything that resembles anything that is anti-establishment. That doesn't change your way of thinking. Unless you never thought that way to begin with. I mean, that's always a possibility. Stay true to you. Fair enough. But nobody's going to make me bend the knee. You want to come take my flag? Come and take it. I dare you. You know?
And that's the thing. And that's what I mean by the Overton window. For anyone listening who doesn't know what that is, I'm sure most of you do. It As the Overton window shifts left or right, that is the societal scope of what is acceptable and unacceptable. And the Overton window has been shifting, no pun intended, progressively further to the left. So it used to be, oh well, wearing a KKK hood was bad a few hundred years ago. Now, just even just the idea of a certain flag, or even just saying black BLM is an admittedly Marxist organization, which we have the evidence to prove it. They've openly admitted it. But the Overton window has shifted so far, even saying that is now controversial. And you don't have to be on the right. You don't have to be a neo-Nazi or a KKK member to say, yeah, BLM as an organization is openly admitted Marxist. They admittedly get funding from organizations that support other Marxist organizations. All donations that are don't have a designation get funneled into Act Blue. Their number one donation goes to Bernie Sanders. All of this is open and available information.
Well, here's the thing. Today, Jefferson Davis is bad. Robert E. Lee was a terrorist. Tomorrow, Columbus. Oh, wait, that already happened. Tomorrow, Jefferson. Oh, wait, that already happened. Tomorrow, Abraham Lincoln. Oh, damn it. I'm running out of Americans here. Wait. This one will never happen, right? Teddy Roosevelt. Fuck. You get my point?
Even George Washington. It's gotten to the point, again, the Overton window has shifted so much that even the American flag is now being branded as some sort of symbol of racism. Dodge, I know you saw that thread on Twitter.
The 4th of July is now racist. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Just even the idea of the country that we live in, the country that has the 14th, 15th, and 16th Amendment, the country that abolished racism, the country that fought a war and had over 600,000 people die because did racism as an economic structure. And that's what I'm going to call it, because that was the context of the war. If you don't believe me, go back through and reread your history. That was the reason. Slavery was an economic structure of the time. People are trying to retroactively look at it through the lens of civil rights, racial justice, and human liberties. But that's not how it was viewed at the time. You have to view it through the context of the period in history. It was an economic institution at that point in time. That's what drove several states to secede from the Union. That's what started the Civil War.
I'm going to say this rather plainly. About 3/4 of the wealth in the South was in ownership of slaves or in any ownership thereof. So, like the cotton gin, your plantation field, the slaves that you fed, that you housed, that worked your land, all that was in your net wealth. By the way, 3/4 of the wealth of the nation was based in the South at the time. So, yeah, taking away a basic institution, that'd be like saying, okay, no more private or public health care. We're just going to wipe that out. Doctors, go fuck yourself. Go get a job in Canada. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, again, that's the thing you have to realize. The South was predominantly driven by agricultural and mining and hard labor. Where do you think the majority of that came from? I can tell you where at least 1/3 of it came from, and guess what? That 1/3 was supported by the institution now known as slavery. So if you're going to talk about slavery in the context of what was driving the Civil War, again, this is what drives me nuts about this. You have to look at it from the perspective of how was the institution viewed at that point in time. Was it wrong? I don't think anybody who's arguing it wasn't. It's fundamentally dehumanizing. The same way that I could make the argument that identity politics, just boiling somebody down to their skin color, or their sexuality, or their religion, or their nationality, is also dehumanizing. But it's, at the time when the Civil War happened, it wasn't viewed through the context of civil rights or liberties. It was viewed through the context of being an economic institution. And you know what the number one export from the South was? Cotton. So if you go ahead and decide you're going to outlaw that institution, what do you think is going to happen? Of course, you're going to secede.
Let's move past that, because we've had this argument and we're both on the same side. Let's move past that. Okay. So the influx of new workers into an economy would pretty much delineate a bigger output of production, right? So if you free all the slaves and now they go work or they go create jobs, they buy houses, you would grow your GDP of your state, right? Why was the South the poorest area of the country for about 100 years after the Civil War? Why is Mississippi still the poorest state in the Union? Why is it? Why?
See, the thing is, that's actually a fundamental fallacy. That is not the way economics works. You could free all the slaves, give them all a living wage. What's going to ultimately happen is, yes, the price of goods are going to go down. It's going to have to naturally in the short term. That's going to be the initial cost, because you're going to have a more widespread access to labor and potential jobs. That will happen in the short term. You know what's going to go up? Cost of production. Because now it's more expensive to employ people. And if you have more people in the market, you know what's going to go down? Wages. We see this every time that welfare and Social Security or anything that is not government subsidized, which is why we have government subsidies with farms. I'm not going to get into that argument. But anytime you increase the labor force and you make it more accessible, wages go down, job accessibility goes up, opportunity goes up, but so do opportunity costs. And that's what no one wants to talk about. And this is why I hate armchair economists. As opportunity costs go up, cost of production goes up, jobs become more competitive. So you have three options. Either A, people are going to succeed based on merit, which is the way it should be. Or B, you're going to have to rely on government subsidies. The third problem that's going to happen is cost of production goes up. Well, guess what? Jobs are going to decrease because sometimes certain businesses are just not able to compete. That's going to happen as well. You have to remember, resources are limited, and that includes time. That includes the amount of land that you have. That includes, just how much cotton or how much corn do you produce in a given period of time. Those things are going to fluctuate.
No, that's not. I get it. You come at this from an economic standpoint. That's
what you have.
You're off.
But what you have to understand, because I get the argument you're going with. What you have to understand is when you increase the labor force like that, not only does it raise cost of production, it lowers the wages. So yeah, congratulations. You know what? You freed the slaves. You know what happened to a lot of people after they got freed? They starved. Why do you think that is?
Well, they were starving before that, but no, that's not even the argument. The argument is simple. You know what happened in the Reconstruction South? Military governors happened in every state, a few in different states. Like Louisiana was split into three zones, I believe. You had New Orleans, Shreveport, and then Baton Rouge, or not Baton Rouge, but the central area of the state. Thing is, you took a class of people that didn't know how to read and write, and you made them the leaders and told them run everything. And then you told everybody that knew how to read and write, hey, you're all rebels. You're disenfranchised. You're no longer allowed to vote. Good luck getting a job. You know what a felon has to deal with today? That's what the entire white South had to deal with. Okay? I mean, you want to break this down to brass tacks? I'm done messing around with you fucking assholes. Just listen to facts and get it. Okay?
Well,
just
the other thing you have to point out is, and while, yes, that did happen, the other thing you have to point out is through the Reconstruction period, and this is why I brought up government subsidies, it wasn't private business rebuilding. It wasn't, to some degree, it was local governments rebuilding, but it was the federal government that had to come and rebuild. Who do you think came in and rebuilt it? Do you think the corporations paying higher taxes came in and rebuilt it? No. Do you want to know why the South was poor? The South was poor because they were forced to pay to rebuild after the war. That's why the South was poor.
Oh, and don't forget Sherman and burning everything he laid eyes on. Oh, and you know those slaves that you care so much about? You know, Black Lives Matter. Hey, take notes. Because we won't be repeating this again. Take notes. You know those slaves that Sherman left behind him that followed the army? You know he let them starve, right? That they were a nuisance to the army, and the Confederacy actually kept raiding his caravans, mainly because of the camp followers and the slaves that the Union offered to free, but had nothing to do with that, after that.
Well, that's the other thing.
You're free. We can't enforce it unless we take it. And when we take it, we're not going to take care of you. You might as well go to Delaware and go back to slavery. That was Abraham Lincoln's idea. Either that or go over to Africa to Libya. What is it? Liberty City or something like that?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But no, that's a good point that has to be brought up that nobody wants to talk about as well. What happens once you liberate everyone? I mean, we could even bring up Game of Thrones because it's a good analogy. What happens once you liberate everybody and you just go ahead and move on to the next town or the next city? Who's going to feed them? Who's going to employ them? How are you going?
And the sad part, like Game of Thrones as an analogy, the sad part was the slaves asked to be re-enslaved. They said, hey, look, we can't get anything. At least we had a place to live and a hot meal.
Oh, and that's the thing. It's if you have a family, I mean, yeah, it's not exactly the ideal living conditions, don't get me wrong. But if you completely uproot an institution, well, you have to have something to replace it with. If you don't, then which one do you want? Do you want to do hard labor? I mean, you have a job, you have mouths to feed. You might have a wife, maybe you have a sickly father or mother or brother. If you're going to replace an institution, you have to replace it with something else. Otherwise, how do you expect these people to support and care for themselves, especially the ones who can't work or the ones who are too young to work or too sickly to work?
It's not only that. What happens when you liquidate 3/4 of the economy of a section of the country? Because that's what happened. They liquidated it and they didn't pay out. So in other words, foreclosed. You're done. Everybody with a plantation, file bankruptcy. You're done. It's over.
And again, why do you think the South, once they lost the Civil War, why do you think the South ended up being poor? Why do you think it's a stereotype even to this day? It's because economically they were shattered. What are you going to replace it with?
It's not a stereotype. It's a reality. I went to Louisiana. All right. I was there months ago. There are still shacks on properties from the Civil War that are just rat havens, or maybe there's water moccasins in there. You know what I mean? Like nobody's touched this shit. Why? It's useless land. It's all
Well,
fucking.
again,
dude.
that's
There's
the other
nothing
thing.
there.
That's the other thing you have to realize. Okay, so all right, the South prior to the Civil War was actually rich. They were rich because they were selling cotton to. It was primarily cotton. There were other things they were selling, but it was primarily
Tobacco. Come on, don't leave out tobacco. And tobacco is actually really hard to harvest. Those tobacco leaves will actually slice you up. It's kind of
it is, but that was mostly the Virginia and the Carolinas. But we're talking like if we're talking like the South, tobacco doesn't even grow that well in areas like say Georgia or Florida or Texas. Most of that was
or Louisiana, like I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, most of that was it was sorghum, rice, and cotton. I believe were the three major agricultural exports, and that's where the majority of the wealth came from. Well, if you completely undermine that, well, guess what happens? Those institutions are undermined. Even the people that were enslaved, do you think they're going to turn around and be able to find a job working on a farm when the farm itself is going bankrupt? And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, the steam engine was a thing and the cotton gin was a thing. Do you think they're going to actually be able to afford that, especially coming off the cost of a war? Have any of you guys actually done any research and
left
studied?
that knew how to build one? No, I'm sorry. You lost 3/5 of the southern white male population from the age.
Well, not even that, Dodge. Not even that. I understand the argument you're going with, but let's not even do that. Let's just use England as an example. Look at what happened to England at the end of the Napoleonic Wars. England was bankrupt. They had to turn to somebody else. They had to turn to to banking institutions. What do you think happened to the South? It was the same thing. They were bankrupt. Not only did they have to rebuild, but economically they were broken. Do you think they're going to be able to hire all these new freely liberated slaves? No, they can't afford to pay them, which they now legally have to do. What do you think is going to happen to the economic institution? It's going to break. And that's exactly what happened. That's why to this day, even the South is still predominantly poor by comparison to northern countries, or northern states, I should say, not countries. But no, there's a reason. Like you want to talk about like institutionalized this or that. You want to talk about institutionalized poverty? Go all the way back to the Civil War. That's where half of the nation essentially became bankrupt, and they're still trying to recover from it to this day. Why do you think they're so reliant upon federal funding? You know, as soon as somebody does a riot, or as soon as somebody has some type of economic hardship, or the price of housing goes up because the Fed wants to manipulate interest rates, or because we print a bunch of money for a stimulus
I'm not here to talk about the Fed, Doku. You know what I'm here to talk about? I'm here to talk about the fact that a whole group of Americans are being pushed against the wall, and then when we push back, you know what's going to happen? We're going to be called racist. We're going to be called neo-Nazis, neo-Confederates, and white supremacists. And you know what? The sad part is, I don't care anymore. I don't give a shit. Call me what you want, motherfucker. You wanted this. Let's do it. Boogaloo, motherfucker. Let's go.
Well, and you know what? I've said it before, so I might as well just say it on air. I know there's a lot of people that want to sit there and say, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear I told you so, or I was right, or anything. I don't care if you want to hear it. If you were wrong, you were wrong. Admit it.
Yeah, and you were wrong. Everybody who laughed at me when I said, look, this isn't a real disease, guys. Calm down. This is the flu. Chill. No. You laughed at me. Oh my God. You're gonna kill my grandma. You're gonna kill Grandpappy. No,
and you know what? I wish,
son of a bitch.
You know what? I wish Aaron or Mildred or Shades was here so that they had their soundboard, because I want the Razor Fist button. Fuck you. I was right. I don't care if you don't want to hear it. I don't care if you don't want to hear like, oh, I told you so. I don't care if you don't want to hear it. You were wrong. I was right. You thought we were full of shit, and give it a month or two. Boom. Guess what? Look at the numbers. Look at the data. Look at what is actually coming out. You were wrong. We were right.
No, and how dare you? How fucking dare you tell me and my family we need a mask, but those assholes could burn down Portland? No. Hey, Governor fucking Carpet Liquor, we're coming for you. We're done. We've had it. You don't get to do this anymore. No. We're finished. Go fuck yourself.
And again, I've been saying this rather frequently as well. And again, it's an issue of fuck you, I was right. What did it take for the mayor of Seattle to actually finally do something about the Chaz or the Chop or whatever you want to call it?
2 dead.
You'd be like,
not even that.
Yeah, how many were raped, Doku? How many rapes do you think went unfucking documented in that zone? I bet you it was high, buddy. Because look at Wall Street. It was high, bud.
No, yeah. That's a good question because they won't report it. They're
me too. Yeah. Hashtag me gonna shoot you. I'm done. Get the fuck off my land. Get the fuck out of my shit. I'm done. And those of you that are gonna go along with the left, I'm done with you too. I've had it. Bye. Bye, Felicia. No, it's time to pick sides. I picked mine. Pick yours. I'm done. Fuck, fuck all of you.
And again, that's the thing. Like, how many? I don't know. We don't know because the police weren't allowed into the autonomous zone. They can call it. Call it.
Hey, racist white guy, shut up! How dare you? I'm a trans toaster. Identifying individual, and I think you're stomping on my feelings. I believe I now have PTSD.
Oh, you know what? I don't care if you have PTSD because guess what? I'm not paying for your fucking therapy.
Hey, Cap, I can't calm down. I'm done, dude. I'm done being shoved. Right? So like. Simple shit. Like my wife goes to the store. She goes to the store earlier today. It's all fine with no mask. She goes to the store later. She has to drive all the way home and pick up a mask. They won't serve her. What changed in 4 hours? What? Did this virus mutate and become infinitely more powerful? Super Saiyan fucking form in 4 hours?
No, and that's the thing, and let's be honest. All of you people out there who think like, oh well, the mask is for your safety. It's N95 mask. Let's look at all the instances of even Dr. Fauci. Let's go with Dr. Fauci first. Do you think he's been wearing a mask the whole time? No, he hasn't.
No, he's just like these CNN fucking cunts lecturing us with their big brains saying they know more than us. And then they're out buying new houses and shit with no fucking mask. Fuck you. Fuck you, Como. Come at me, bro. Hey, Don Lemon. Yeah, you're going to be the next Jesse Smollett. Keep it up.
Oh, and then here's the other thing. I had someone yesterday try to berate me about not wearing a mask. And I wanted to say this, but I wasn't trying to create problems for the clerk or everybody else in the store. But I did want to ask him a question. Okay, so I'm not wearing a mask. You're wearing a mask. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Have you touched an unsanitized surface? Did you touch it before using something to sanitize your hands? Did you wash your hands prior to that? Have you touched a door handle? Have you touched a keypad? Did you do it with disposable gloves? If the answer is no, guess what? You're actually spreading the disease more than you wearing a mask would do. You could take off the mask and put on a pair of disposable fucking latex gloves and carry around hand sanitizer and use it religiously and you're doing 10 times more good trying to prevent the spread of the virus than you wearing a mask that doesn't even stop it because it can barely stop fucking drywall dust. You idiots need to fucking take a step back and actually think about what you're fucking doing because you're fucking dumb.
I'm not even gonna yell. If the mask won't protect you from asbestos, how do you think it's gonna protect you from a virus? You're acting ridiculous, and you need to calm the fuck down. These masks. Okay, so a surgeon wears a mask. It's not for his safety, dickhead. It's so he doesn't spread something to you while you're cut open with your heart beating in his fucking hand. You dumbass.
Oh, that's the whole
you don't
point.
Even know what you're fucking talking about.
That's the whole point behind an N95 mask. It's an N95 because it's 95. It prevents 95%. You want to know the 5% it doesn't prevent? Is a nanovirus. Do you want to know the fucking width? It's been measured of the coronavirus. It's 60 to 180 nanometers. An N95 mask does not stop you from breathing it in or expelling it out. You know what it does stop? You from having spittle go onto someone when they have their fucking chest cut open while you're performing open heart or brain surgery. That's what an N95 mask is there to do. And it's still contingent upon the fact that you're working in a sterilized room.
And okay, all right. You know what? If I wasn't married, I would say, give me a hot bitch with COVID and I'll go fucking make out with her. Because I bet you anything I survive. I bet you. Because it's a 98.9% survival rate, you dickheads. This is not the Black Death. You are overreacting. You know what this is? It's simple. It really is. It's very simple. What this is stay home so we have to do mail-in ballots. Stay home so we can fake the election. Stay home, be afraid. Oh, Black Lives Matter. You're all Democrats and you're ripping down the city in our name. You can go out. But hey, a county in Oregon, Jefferson County. Funny, Jefferson. I know. Jefferson County, 23,000 people. Only 8,000 homes in this entire county. 8,000. Only white people have to wear masks in public because Black Lives Matter and they might be discriminated against for having a mask. What? You're talking about a county in the middle of fucking bumfuck Egypt, Oregon, where there is like nobody yet. And I bet you the black population is 0.01%. What are you talking about? You're insane. And once again, you're using race. It's ridiculous, dude. If I had any hair left, I'd rip it out.
And that's the thing. This has always been about politics. It's always been about control. It has always been about trying to push the idea of a quote new normal. If you think this was about public health and safety, I hate to break it to you, you're wrong. Even the same people who are saying wear masks now, rewind 4 months ago, they were saying don't wear a mask unless you show signs of having a symptom. Unless you have a cough or a fever, don't wear a mask.
I bet you anything. Fast forward a month, they'll say take the mask back off. Oh, and some states want to just lock people down for 1 day. What day is it? What day? The 4th of July.
Well, yeah,
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck
and again,
yourself.
that's the other thing. Like again, for someone who is healthy, who isn't showing signs, they were saying don't wear a mask. You know what else they were saying? Do I have to remind people? Do you guys have that much of a fucking short attention span that I have to remind people that de Blasio was saying, go out and hit the town. We're gonna buy some Chinese food afterward. Go hit the cinema, watch a movie. Or Pelosi was saying, go to Chinatown because Donald Trump shutting down travel to China, knowing that there was a fucking pandemic going on, it's racist. We need to combat racism by going to Chinatown.
No, but that's the thing. It's not a pandemic. It's another strain of the flu. They overreacted. They overblew it. And now we all have to suffer the consequences, which is social isolation and going insane. And now everybody is racist unless you're black. I don't understand how that happened.
And the thing is, I don't even care if it is or isn't about that. What I'm trying to point out to people is, okay, the same people who are freaking out now, who are wearing masks for the sake of political posturing, because, you know, they only care about your vote and your tax dollars. They don't care about you or your public health or safety. That's complete fucking bullshit. If you think that, you're an idiot. Sorry, hate to break it to you, you're dumbass. But no, these are the same people who wanted you to go out and congregate in large crowds. They're the same ones who will not denounce any of the protests or riots, whether they're wearing masks or not. But they also want to shut down fucking private businesses and want to sit there and say, well, you have to wear a mask, otherwise you're going to fine you. Why do you think that is? Oh, we're going to fine you? Where do you think that money goes? What do you think this is actually about? Do you think it's actually about public health and safety? How many dots do I need to give you before you actually realize this is bullshit? We already know the masks, 90% of the fucking masks that you're wearing are ineffective against stopping the spread of coronavirus.
Well,
and if you're not wearing fucking gloves and you're not sanitizing a surface every 10 fucking minutes, do you think that's going to stop it? Guess what? The short answer is no. The long answer is fuck no.
Well, no, and dude, okay, you can go overboard, right? You could do hand sanitizer. You could dip your hands in bleach and Clorox. You could scrub all day long. You know what you're doing? You're taking away the good bacteria as well as the bad. So you're making your immune system lower and making yourself more susceptible to COVID, you dumb son of a fucking bitch. You dumb son of a fucking cunt. I've had it with you people. You guys are fucking stupid. I just want to hit you in the head with a goddamn brick. Where's that pallet of bricks? Somebody give me a brick.
Well, and that's the thing. All these other people, everything goes out of the window when it becomes becomes convenient for the narrative of the argument. It was racism to shut down travel to China 4 months ago. Now all of a sudden everyone has to wear a fucking mask. But it's okay to protest. But on the 4th of July, no, you're not allowed to go to the bar or the beach.
Yeah, you know what, dude? No, it's so fucked up. Like I told you last night, right? Me and my wife go out. So I wanted to get the range on her gun and make sure she was comfortable with it. So my brother-in-law, me, my wife, and the kids went to where we go shooting, right? Nothing bad happened. Whatever. The gun needs some oil. It kept jamming. But that's something we could fix. Not a big deal. The thing is, though, in the middle of that, about an hour in, and we only went out for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, if that. I mean, I might be over-exaggerating. But halfway through it, the governor of Oregon put the lockdown order in place. So when we left, it was legal for us to be there. When we got home, it was illegal for us to be there. So that meant in the middle of it, it just came down to a second where it's legal, now it's illegal. Does that make any sense at all? To any actual thinking person, does that fucking make sense?
Well, the thing is, what I want to know, when did the virus start caring about, what day of the week it was, or whether or not there was a lockdown order in place or not? Does it only like door handles? Does it only go to bars? Or does the virus just avoid protest and only go to rallies of a certain political affiliation? If you don't think this is politically motivated and being used for the sake of pushing social conditioning and political posturing, I hate to say this to you, but you need to hear it. If you don't believe that is the primary motivating factor behind this response, you have not been paying attention, or you're just daft, vapid, and moronic. I'm sorry. There is no other way to put it. you need to look at everything objectively. You need to look at the data. You need to look at when is it good, when is it bad. It's perfectly fine for people to riot, but the second the Don holds a rally, all of a sudden, holy crap, second wave. It's all because of a Trump rally.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Like the title says, let's have a talk. Let's talk about that. Okay, so Black Lives Matter. You get the rally. You get to burn down cities. You get to march fucking 500 or 1,000 deep. That's cool. We're good with that. A Trump rally with 600 people is a medical emergency.
Okay. Oh, but Dodge, it was closed door. It was an enclosure. It's a closed space. They were inside a stadium. Yeah, they still weren't standing fucking shoulder
open domed. Isn't that a thing?
I believe there was an open air stadium. I believe there was an open air stage at that rally.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say I'm a baseball and a football fan. Pretty sure I can name you some open air stadiums. Oh, Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, San Francisco,
Lambeau Field, FedEx Field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green Bay. Isn't Pittsburgh open? Right, that's open air.
I believe so.
I mean, what? He can't have a rally at the Houston Dome. Okay. Wait, domes open up too. Oh, yeah.
Reliant Stadium.
Is wrong.
Yeah, Reliant Stadium. Yeah, gee, it's okay for people to rally and chant at the top of their lungs, but you can't have a rally. Are you still thinking this isn't politically motivated?
It's an election year. That's why we're all getting banned too. Stefan Molyneux. Bam. Hey, you've been around for 14 years and you have millions of subscribers? Yeah. Eat shit, die, bitch. Right? Hey,
I was never a huge fan of his to begin with, but that was politically motivated. I mean, what was it, like 25,000 different accounts all got banned on the same day between Reddit, Twitch, and YouTube?
Yeah, I can't believe I wasn't on the list. I'm a little upset with myself.
You're gonna have to try harder. Yeah, you got to try harder, bro. But no, do you think that all of this is coincidental and it's not politically motivated? Like, how many dots have we given you now? Are you still in denial? Anyone? I mean, if you are, go ahead and say it in the chat.
No, and the thing is, you guys, all right, I could be friends with somebody who is a Democrat. That's not the issue. The issue is when you stand for something for the entire time I know you, and then suddenly you're somebody else, and then you're looking at me like I'm a bad guy. Did we even know each other to begin with? Really, did we? I don't think we did. And if you're going to look at me that way, why are we even friends anyway? If it's fuck me, it's fuck you too. That's the way I roll my entire life. I don't care. Hey, I'll play the part of the bad guy. You never met a bad guy quite like me.
Oh, that's the thing. I'll change my beliefs or my perspectives based upon if somebody can actually, provide me with evidence and prove to me that I'm wrong or my outlook on things is incorrect, and I'll reevaluate it for myself and determine whether I'm right or you're right. I'll change based on that, but I'm not going to change based upon social pressure or fear or being forced to bend the knee. Like, no, if that's the case, you can kindly get bent and go pound sand, because I'm not going to change simply because of social pressure, just because you don't like the way I view things or what my my outlook or my worldview is. You're going to have to convince me.
Well, no, and I'll get up close to the mic again. Okay, it's pretty simple. This is where I stand. Hey, if you disagree with me, wait a minute. We got $5 super chat. Dude, they're losing everything. The world moving under their feet, and they can't comprehend it. And William, snitch. Who's snitching? Did we snitch on somebody?
I think we're snitching on everyone who wants to buy into the fucking bullshit narrative that's going on right now. So I guess technically, yeah, we're snitching on the narrative. We're calling it out. We're snitching on YouTube. We'll just go with that. We're snitching on Susan.
But no, here's the thing. All right, I've pretty much held my beliefs. I've shifted slightly. I've gone a little bit more conservative recently, where I've seen some friends go a little bit more left. I'm okay with that. I can handle that. That's not an issue, really. But the thing is, when one day you're all for a certain symbol and the next day you're not, I think that's a you problem, not a me. So why are you coming at me cross-eyed? I'll smack your fucking eyes back straight if need be. Is that what's needed here?
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people, especially recently over the past couple of months, their viewpoint has changed not because their outlook necessarily has changed on things, but they've changed simply because there's a lot of social pressure forcing you in one direction, and there's a lot of influence trying to get you to come to a certain conclusion. So they're more than willing to go ahead and adjust to that type of mindset or that type of worldview, but it's not of their own or their own volition. It's because they're under so much pressure to perceive things in a certain way that you kind of lose track. Well, as Temple would say, you've lost the plot.
Hey, listen, when you even have Tim Pool coming around to our side of the argument, I think you lost, liberals. I'm sorry. You lost Tim Pool. How do you do that?
Yeah, a self-described. I mean, even to this day, he keeps saying he's a leftist. He's a liberal.
He's a liar. He is now a conservative. You know it. I know it. MC knows it.
And that's the thing. This is what I meant earlier by the overt window has shifted so far. People who used to be to the right are now in the center. People who used to be in the center are now to the left. And people who are on the left, they're either so far to the left that they've gone full on commie, Leninist, Marxist conspiracy theory, full on anarchy, burn it all down, everything is racist, the American flag is racist, let's burn it, the 4th of July is somehow a symbol of white supremacy, all colonialism is bad, kill Whitey, all that stupid shit. Like, you either shifted with the window, or if you didn't, guess what? You're now some sort of alt-right, white supremacist, neo-Nazi, racist, sexist, ism, whatever one of fucking things you throw out there.
Doku, this is what you throw out there. One of us. One of us. One of us.
Oh, dude, and here's the crazy thing. Go back to when me and you very first started talking. We were, I think I was fairly centric. I think you were fairly centric. You were a little bit closer to the anarchy side of things than I was.
Yeah, I was kind of leftist, dude. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. You were further to the side of anarchy versus authoritarianism than I was. But even at this point in time, things have gotten, a few years later, things have gotten so absolutely freaking ridiculously out of hand crazy that despite the fact that if you listen to the two of us talk, we have open disagreements about a lot of things, but to the majority of people, well, because we're not Marxist, Stalinist, Leninist, anarcho-communist, whatever, and well, go ahead and tell you the truth, COVID is being utilized as a political tool, and Black Lives Matter is not about racial justice or civil rights or equality. It's a Marxist movement. They openly say it's against Trump. Antifa is indeed an anarcho-communist movement. They're anti-government, anti-capitalist, anti-establishment. That's what the black and red stands for.
Oh yeah, they're domestic terrorists, by the way.
Yeah, because they openly use violence and intimidation to further their political goals, so that technically does make them domestic terrorists by definition. Because we're even willing to just call out those basic truths that anybody with two brain cells to rub together should be able to figure out on their own accord, that somehow makes us alt-right, neo-Nazi, racist, white supremacists, which is utter bullshit.
Oh, no, and it's even more bullshit when you look back at my catalog, people, and you see that I interviewed Patrick Little. Oh my God. Mad Dodge interviewed a far-right neo-Nazi type, right? Yeah, sounds really bad. It really does. Until you watch it, and he fucking rage quitted after 5 minutes.
Well, again, that's the other thing. I'm actually kind of glad you brought that up, because this is another point that I wanted to point out. Just because you engage with somebody, like if I were to debate Jimmy Dore or Cenk Uygur, that doesn't make me a democratic socialist. That doesn't make me a leftist. That doesn't make me a liberal. I'm willing to have a conversation with these people, and disagree with them. The same way that because Sargon of Akkad decided to debate Richard Spencer, that doesn't make Sargon of Akkad a fucking alt-right neo-Nazi simply because he's willing to have a fucking conversation with someone.
I have a simple question. Right now in the current climate, where is Richard Spencer? Why isn't he like doing mass recruiting drives right now? I mean, seriously. Where the fuck is this nigga?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure he got banned, actually.
Oh, so he's on mines and shit. He is recruiting just in over there. But all right, guys, we're approaching an hour. Me and Doku talked beforehand. We really only want to go for about an hour. So I'm gonna look at the chat. There's some shit about Pinoid as a snitch from my favorite troll, William. And then we got Pinoid. Nigga, I never snitch on no one. He got older. That's how you lost him. I don't know what he's talking about. Whatever. You guys, we need to have a conversation that's difficult. And you know why it's difficult? Because it's uncomfortable. You don't want to have it, right? You don't want to do this. You know, I don't want to say, hey, you're shoving me against the wall. I'm going to bounce back swinging. But that's where we're at. It's time to have the conversation, is it not?
Well, we don't, at this point in time, we don't have a choice. I've seen a lot of people saying it, and you know what? They're right. I thought it was stupid a month ago, and I'm kind of coming around to this. You have to pick a side. Which side do you want to be on? You can't be a fence sitter at this point in time. You won't be allowed to. Somebody will force you to pick a side, whether you want to or not. So that's unfortunately where we're at.
Absolutely. And hey, I don't care who joins my Discord. It's cool. But listen, if you're lefty and you can't handle the truth, don't join it. Or if you're already in there, leave. All right? We're better off without you. I'm done. I picked my side, okay? I have a side. I picked it. My side is history. My side is the Constitution. My side is the rule of law. I'm done. I picked a side. Make me the bad guy. I'll play the part. Fuck you. Last thoughts, Doku. I'm going to end it.
Final thoughts. Yeah, no, I think that's a good place to end it. Unfortunately, if you haven't picked a side yet, you're gonna go with one or the other. I would highly suggest you look at everything objectively and figure out, you know, depending on who you support or don't support, who has your best interest and who represents your belief system the most accurately. You're gonna have to pick.
Hey, don't tread on me. We're out of here. 4th of July is coming soon. God bless America. Yeah, I said it.